Can you guys see?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, my name is Eren, as most of you know, and I'll go through what I did for my campaign. So, I was quite confused at first where to present, like what to do, but then I thought of all the societies I was a part of, and I decided to do my presentation in a student-led society, which I started being a part of from the beginning of the year. And it's normally the Pharmacology Society, but they allowed me to go on like a tangent to teach them about SPEDs and obviously raise some awareness. So other than that, I also think I did it in like two different ways, like an informal method and a more formal method. So my informal method was my friends and family knew I was a part of this program. So after every session, I spoke to them about what I learned, and they usually ask me like, "Oh, what do you guys do? What do you guys learn?" And then I get the chance to explain uh what I learned basically, and like I get to teach them about the different SPEDs and how they can have an effect on one's ability in learning or doing other tasks. And yeah. The more formal method was my presentation, obviously, in my society, and I, I didn't like decide to focus on just one SPED, so I decided to go over all the SPEDs that like the main ones in society, if you like, yeah. And I dedicated each slide in my presentation to each of the SPEDs, and like the main things the slides covered were like the percentage of like people in the population that have SPEDs, like what the SPED mainly is, like how it affects someone's ability in learning, for example. But the main thing which I wanted to convey in these slides were uh, there's a high misconception in society that having a SPED is always negative and it always negatively affects your like um negatively affects how someone learns, but this isn't the case. And like I just wanted to get that through to the people that were listening. Like for example, I think it was with dyslexia, people are better with like pattern recognition. So yeah, I just wanted to tell them about how it's not always negative, there are positives. Yeah, and throughout the whole presentation, not just as like each slide, the main point at the end that I was trying to get them to learn was that having a SPED like is very like the way it's seen in society is very wrong. And like I know for a fact, like people around our ages, like the youth, especially like of some people who use it as like derogatory comments saying, oh, you have this, you have that, and is seen as like a disability even though it's not, because someone with a SPED can still do the same thing as someone without it, just in a different way. They learn differently. Because in my interview with Hamza, this was the main point he was conveying to me and the main point I gathered. So I wanted to convey this to my peers and make sure they understood this. And by telling them, they can go and tell their friends, and it'll be like a chain. And yeah. So, and then the outcomes of my campaign. So I was able to teach my friends and family in the informal way. And then through the formal way, I was able to teach other peers from year 12 and year 13 about how SPEDs are not disabilities, they are only differences, and how um the main like the bit I was kind of proud that I told them was that SPEDs are not always native, which is something a lot of people have in their minds. Like another example being people with those with ADHD are able to hyper focus on a certain task, which even like which people like other people can't do. And like it was kind of a they were almost like shocked, and they like the people I was presenting to, they thought it was only negative, but now they knew and they could tell others, which, as I said, makes like a spider web, so everyone can learn more. And yeah, thank you for listening, and thank you for this opportunity.
I
Feel
have a
free.
question.
Yes,
Um,
go on.
but I don't know. Something happened to my camera, so I can't turn it on for some reason. Um, I don't know what happened. But I was gonna ask, you said it was part of a pharmacology society. Is this part of university?
Oh, no, no, it's like it's in sixth form. It's like those who want something in the medical field, like a Pharmacology Society, and I just started it because I want to go into a medical field in the future. So I thought it would be good, and like because I was like one of the only people that go there, they like now I'm the president of that society, so I took my opportunity to teach others about SPEDs.
And you did this by speaking or like doing an actual presentation?
It was a presentation like this, like I just had a PowerPoint and I was speaking about like SPEDs, and I also spoke about other stuff like how they asked about like treatments and stuff, because I know with ADHD, if it's like very severe, you can be prescribed like Ritalin, and I was speaking about how like getting tested, I think there's like a year or a 2-year waiting list, and how like if I was to get tested by now, I wouldn't know until I was in like almost in uni. So yeah,
That's very interesting. Thank you.
no problem.
Great. I'll take one more question before I ask my question. Any more questions? Okay, so I'll ask my question. Bhakti kind of asked one of my questions, so yes, Bhakti primed you with one of them, but I'll ask my second one, which is, it's interesting that you talked about formally raising awareness and informally raising awareness. What would you say the main challenges in raising awareness informally versus raising awareness formally were? And in future, going forward, when you're having conversations about SPEDs, how is that going to influence the way you raise awareness about SPEDs?
So like with informally, like the main difference, obviously this might sound silly, but when I was doing my presentation, I obviously had like the facts to back it up, like the percentages of the population. Like when speaking with people, obviously I can't like straight away think of that, so that was obviously difficult. But other things I remembered like off the top of my head, so I was able to tell them about how it affects a person's learning, and like I could gather how like it could be positive in some ways. And then with like future conversations now, it's like maybe not directly with people, but obviously it's very bad like nowadays society, especially like people around my ages, like they see SPEDs in a very like in the wrong way, and they like use it to describe people in a demeaning manner, like saying, oh, you have this, you have that. But now because I know it's not true, I'm gonna like take my act like speak to them and tell them that's not true, and like make sure like this doesn't happen again. So yeah.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Brilliant. That ends the questions. So a final round of applause to you once again.
Thank you.